quarantine got your hair a mess? At least it doesn't look like this.
Girl, you got a hole in your head.
Tamar Braxton, celebrity hair slayer, and Johnny Wright, A-list stylist, are here to bust bad dues.
Y'all ready?
It was a choppy mess.
This May, it's time to catch up.
It's about to go down. Wait.
Confront them.
What is that? I did that right now.
And school them.
Now it's time for you to redeem yourself.
To Catch a Beautician, new series premieres Monday, May 25th, only on VH1.
If you continue to stay on this page, I urge you now to go to Take My Takes right now on YouTube.
And just as we are by their side.
Hey, everybody. We live. Is she on? She is on. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? This is my favorite day of the week. Everybody knows Thursday, because we only have one more day to the weekend. One more day. Praise God. To be teaching math and social studies and being teachers in our quarantine homeschool situation. But God is good, because next week is Logan's last week in school and we made it. Hallelujah. Won't he do it? Now I'm waiting on David. Once again, he's late. I don't know why he's late. Where is he? But I'm excited. He needs to hurry up because we're having a jam-packed
2 minutes. I'll be right there.
fun-filled show today. And I know we're streaming on Instagram for now. I'm going to cut it off in a minute because I want you all to come right now to Tamar's Takes on YouTube. And don't miss all of the fun with Trina and Tawanda and Vaughn and Sean and David. And we can't wait to jump right on into it. So I love you, Instagram, but we going to YouTube. Won't he do it? All right. So listen, guys. David, what you say? What happened? He keeps talking to me, y'all, and keeps me distracted as always. Okay, so I don't want to hesitate any longer in having our annual Thursday night quarantine and couple cocktail. I'm having champagne again today because it works. And Dave, what are you having? Why are you still up and around? I don't know what you be doing with your days. At the same time every day. Won't you come on? Come on.
Is it time for me? Okay.
Yeah, come on.
Right. Count to 10. 10 time.
Now.
9, 8,
David, what are you doing?
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
No, stop. You're doing too much. No.
Hey, Vaughn.
Okay, so I didn't introduce them yet. We didn't do our see. You ready?
Right.
Ready for your shot?
Where's my glass?
You're getting me all frazzled and stuff, David.
I know I frazzle you kind of. Yeah, I understand. It's okay.
Come on, Dave. Come on, because we're running late because Tawana and Trina's connection wasn't all the way connected. Hallelujah. All right. So we're going to give our annual Thursday night toast. Praise God, we made another quarantine week.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Annual, that means once a year. Okay, my bad.
Or once a week.
Yeah, once a week.
And now I know y'all can hear them in the background. We are going to bring them on, my smart aleck ass brother-in-law, Sean, and his wonderful, amazing woman, Tawanda Braxton, also known as King Ladybug, and Trina and Vaughn Scales. We had them last week, but due to technical difficulties, they had to hop off real fast. But hopefully this week we got it all together. I can't tell Trina's head is stuck, but all right. Trina, why don't I just go ahead and log that thing off and come right back? So I think we're a little delayed. I wanna say we're delayed a little bit. Oh, there we go. All right, sisters. How y'all doing?
Hey.
Love y'all so much. Miss y'all so much.
Me too. Hey, Tawanda. Hey,
Hi,
Sean.
David. Hi.
Now, before we jump into the giddy up, I feel like it is important that we don't ignore what's going on in the world that's outside of our doors and acknowledge, as African-American mothers to African-American sons, the issues that are going on, especially with Ahmaud Arbery and his murder. And I would just like to say our hearts and prayers and our condolences to his family and any other families who has suffered this horrific situation. And I just like to say praise be to God that these people have been arrested.
Amen.
And now they're in jail, and there were the coronavirus. Okay, so in that aspect, I would like to give a moment of silence because we wanted to pay our respects and prayers, and let's just send them some love and light for like 30 seconds. All right, amen. Peace and blessings to you all. Our hearts goes out to you. But that, with that being said and done, right?
Such a good looking guy.
Just a great looking guy. Such a great looking guy.
What a waste of a life.
Yeah. So David and I was having a conversation earlier this week about Logan, and we were talking about how far we've come in our relationship and how we just couldn't believe like this is where we are, like we're like a real family now. And we were talking about how difficult we thought it was going to be to introduce Logan into our situation. You got to look here, boo boo. This is where we at. Introduce Logan into our situation.
She like the control.
I just want you to look
the
good.
control where I'm looking at what I'm doing.
I don't, but you know I don't.
Over here, David. Over here.
I love you too, Mama.
No, I need you to stay with me because I need you to help me with this story.
Okay.
Okay. So where we were during that situation, we were very, very nervous about inviting Logan into the situation because, you know, he was new and he was a player from the Himalaya. And I was like, wow, you were. And I was just like, oh my God, like I really like this dude. And he really likes me. And it seems like it's going to be forever. And I was spending a lot of time with him and it just didn't feel right. I didn't feel right leaving my kid to go kick it with a dude that he didn't know. So we thought of a good way to introduce him. And so we said, we're going to go to San Diego. My mom went, my good friend Troy went, his friend went, David, Logan, and myself. He was like, let's just go for the weekend and let's go to the beach and have a good time. And he'll just be a friend. Yeah, he'll just be a friend that, you know, comes around a lot now. And so we were having breakfast. So David came in.
But Logan was staying with your mom.
In her room.
In her room.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Logan didn't know that I was leaving my room to go to his room at night. Because, you know, we made sure that, you know, Logan was first of all, you didn't fly in till late that night. Logan was in bed. And I left with Troy, his friend, to go to the bar. And David met us at the bar, whatever. And then the next morning we was at breakfast. And you want to finish the story? What Logan did?
Woo. Logan, so we were hanging out, we were talking, right? And, you know, we're just having a conversation. And then you said, he asked,
Troy,
where did
you sleep last night?
Where did you sleep? Okay, so Troy's like, you know, I slept in my room. I was in the back, you know. And then he looks at us and
he said, where did you sleep? Talking to David.
I'm trying to answer. And he was like,
you slept in my mommy's room last night. That's what I
That is your child. That is your child.
And so Logan broke the ice for us. And so we was like, oh, well, since he already know he need us acting like we friends.
He was cool about it. You know, no big deal. It was like, you know what? I know what y'all doing. Don't try to deceive me, man. I'm 5 years old.
And so since Logan was already comfortable with it, after that moment, we didn't hesitate to hold hands or, you know, give each other a kiss in front of each other without, you know, going overboard. And I do feel like sometimes it's going overboard in front of your kids. You can't be tongue kissing your boo in front of your kid when they're like 5 and 6 years old. That's just inappropriate to me. Well, to me, some of y'all nasty. I don't know. So, so I just want to raise the first question to Trina and Vaughn and to Wanda and Sean. Now, I know Eric and Kata were older when you all first started dating, but how did you all introduce your kids to Vaughn and Sean?
You want to go first? You want us to go first, Trina? She's frozen.
Well, they stuck, so y'all go first.
Yeah, yo, for Christmas, I'm getting Trina and Bond's upgrade on the internet package.
Can't wait to Christmas. We're
It's
gonna do it
it's
after
on us.
quarantine.
We got you, baby.
I think, well, the first time that I introduced, well, ours is a little different. It was at the Christmas party. Remember that?
Whoa.
I'm from
That was
Yes.
something. It was at a Christmas party.
Yes.
And it was more like, hey, this is Mr. Sean, this is Braxton, this is Brooke. Wow. It was at the Christmas party. How many years ago was that? That was about
Like 30 years ago.
yeah,
like.
about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And we were at the Christmas party at Tamar's, and the kids were there, and then I just introduced them, and they were cool. But the other time that we were by ourselves, we went to get pizza.
That's right.
And
At Topanga Mall.
At Topanga Mall.
That's right.
And Braxton was very, very standoffish a bit. Wouldn't you say that a little bit?
No,
He
I
just
didn't
had
feel
a-
like that.
He had a little bit of an attitude a bit. You don't think that? Because you kept saying, "What's wrong with Braxton? What's wrong with
Oh,
Braxton?"
is that what I said?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was towards me, but
It was probably towards me because
I can see that.
how sons are with their moms and them moving on, and it was still really new. I mean, everything was really, really fresh with me and his dad, and being separated, and then ultimately going through the divorce. So I would say that definitely Brooke was more, I guess,
open?
She was
Yeah.
more open.
she
Brooke
was she communicated a little bit, but she's a Capricorn born on we have the same birthday, so we kind of like homies. So like
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
the
Yeah.
exact same day.
exact same day, and we communicate the same a little
Yeah, they
bit.
do.
So
They do.
yeah, so we just had a meeting of the minds immediately. So she's always been my homie since from day one. I didn't, but it took time to kind of grow with Braxton. Like she said, he was dealing with their parents splitting and stuff like that.
And being put in the middle. He was definitely.
He wasn't putting him in. He felt as though he was putting him in.
No, he was put in the
Now
middle.
that's the
No,
difference.
Yeah.
Yes,
You're right.
yes.
You're right.
He was put in the middle.
Yeah.
So there were conversations I felt that was
Inappropriate.
that
Like what? Like I'm
Exact-
not getting in your business, but like what kind of
That is-
conversation do you think is inappropriate?
I
for
think that is first of all, I think that is inappropriate for any parent to involve a child to let them know, hey, your mother is doing this, or your father is doing this. I don't agree with that at all whatsoever. I don't agree with having discussions about divorce and all that stuff in front of the kids, because a lot of times they feel like it's their fault, especially when they're that young.
Yeah.
And I just did not agree with that at all whatsoever. And it was almost like the anger was planted inside of Braxton's heart in the very beginning.
Got it. So you already felt like you had something working against you because
When you say that,
I mean, yeah, but I understand because, I come from a single parent home, and, my mom kind of dated. I mean, she didn't date a lot. It was like maybe 2 guys. I was kind of like, you always got your good eye on somebody. Even with my sister, when she started dating, I'm just kind of like, who is this dude? What is he about? So it just, as men, he's a little man. So we had to,
yeah, he was just too young for that, though.
Oh, no, that
too
part, I just believe that kids aren't emotionally set up with the framework to handle adult problems. So adults should talk to adults. You should not communicate through your kid about anything.
Nothing.
Like they should be like, oh, I didn't know nothing was wrong. Like, it should be that way.
Or they should know problem resolution. And then another part of it, we all know that kids are extremely resilient.
Sure.
They're resilient.
Yes.
However, when they're going through such a tumultuous situation like that emotionally, I think that is very important for kids to go through counseling.
Oh, yeah.
oh, we're gonna talk about that in a minute, Tawana. I want to hear from is Trina and Vaughn back? No, they're not. Oh, but Tawana,
Hey, Vaughn. Hey, Trina.
they're not back.
They are
That's
We're
back.
gonna give them.
Trina, can you hear us?
Yes, we heard you the whole time.
Okay. You guys.
Tawana, I 100% agree with you. I think that what Logan had in his back pocket was the fact that right after Vince and I broke up, Logan was immediately in counseling.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Because we come from a divorce
Right.
home, and it was a
Right.
lot for us to understand. And so
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I
And we
just
were
decided,
grown. And we were
we
grown.
were grown. It was a lot for us. So,
Yes,
I
yes.
just decided that I would, go ahead on and put him in counseling now so he can talk about, his feelings. And he was already young, and I wanted him to know he can trust his mom with his feelings and his parents with his feelings.
Right.
And so I am all here for counseling, especially with kids that come from broken homes.
Absolutely.
David.
So when did Braxton warm up to you?
Yeah.
It was a process. I mean, and what's really unique about it is that it's still happening.
Yeah.
We have these moments,
connecting moments.
Yeah, we have these connecting moments, and then I can see, because you got to keep in mind too, he's 14. So he's still trying to figure himself out. He's still trying to figure out where life is, like which way to go, what is wrong, like what are these feelings. He's putting together his relationship with his pops, and and with her.
He bumps into.
Yeah, and
sorry.
And then so we have these moments where we just have real man-to-man talks.
Right.
I remember I don't know, maybe a year ago, maybe. I'm in the studio. I'm down here, I brought some gear here, so I'm down here working. And he knocks on the door. He comes in. He's like, "Hey, man." I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "I want to tell you something." Okay. He's like 13 at this time. I know you like my mom, and I know she likes you, but I don't want you to hurt her, right? I don't want you to break her heart, right? So I want you to, be nice to her, love her for real, for real. I was like, "I got you, man. I got you." So we had those man-to-man talks, and then we've been evolving. So I just taught him how to mow the lawn. So we've been mowing the lawn together. I'm teaching him how to use the weed whacker and the blower and stuff like that. We're going fishing tomorrow, stuff like that. So it's evolving. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like a snap. Yeah.
So you were taking time out to bond with him, which is important. So Trina, let me ask you a question. I know you guys, kids were older. How did you guys introduce your kids in your relationship?
Well, let's even go prior to that. With our kids being older, we were in prior marriages and prior relationships, and our kids were introduced to a blended family before we got together. So my second one raised my sons. So they weren't raised by their father. Bond's children were raised by him their entire lives. No matter what woman was introduced, he raised all three sons. Amazing father, by the way. So when it came time for us to get married, our kids were well into their 20s. And you guys were there at the wedding, and you remember what Caleb said. Caleb said, when I first met Mr. Vaughn, I was like, okay, I just think he's an asshole. And
wait, what?
When you at the wedding, remember Caleb said, when I first met Mr. Vaughn, I was like, okay, he's an asshole.
During his speech, you said that.
You remember that? During his
Yeah, he did say that. Caleb did
that.
say that. He sure did.
And then, as I got to know him, I realized, okay, yeah, he's an asshole, but he loves my mom. And that was the most important thing to him, was that I was loved by this man, whether he's an asshole or not. So whatever his personality is, it doesn't matter. The reality of it is, when it comes to especially young men, because that's all I'm accustomed to, as long as this man in my life is showing me love, as long as he's showing the fact that he is supporting me, as long as he's that man in the household, then that was the most important thing to my sons. What do you think, Ben?
It's first off, like she said, my boys have been through it. They were older. My boys just want me to be happy, and I'll tell you. So I had a previous relationship, and she had boys, and when they moved from out of state into St. Louis, and we all moved in together, and about 2 weeks into that, my oldest son said, "We need to have a family meeting." And I said, "Okay, I won't say her name, I'll tell," and then she get the boys and everything. Like, "No, Dad, just us four." So we met at a little restaurant not far from the house. And I'm like, "What is this about?" And he just looked at me and said, "Bro, this ain't gonna work." That's what my son said. And he something in him said that it wasn't the right fit. Conversely, when they met, we went to the boys were at first watching play. And we had breakfast. And when we left there, the boys, you know, I was walking like kind of behind Trina, and my youngest boy like elbowed me, and my little one, he just does like this. And Evan grabbed me by the shoulder like I used to grab my boys like this when I had something to say. And he grabbed me on my shoulder. He goes, "That one works."
Okay.
It was very easy.
That's cool.
Hey, Vaughn, it's a little bit hard to hear you. I think we have an internet connection problem. Is there a better place?
No, we do not.
Girl. Oh, you're a real Teddy right now. That ain't me, that's you, baby.
Hey, I'm gonna see Breon in the back like this.
Ah, Trina, your Wi-Fi is on quarantine, baby.
But listen, Tamar, I have a question to ask you and David.
Okay.
What do you want Logan to call David? Did you guys have that discussion?
Yeah, we have. You know, I had to basically remove myself from their relationship and let them find and bond themselves. And I didn't want to impose any of my beliefs or my doings on Logan at all. You know, I didn't want him to be influenced by how I felt. I want him to have his own feelings. And the same as David. I didn't have to interject though, thank God. When after that whole ordeal in San Diego and David came to the house the first time, do you want to tell the story?
Which one? I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell you. I remember him coming over on a Friday night, and it was a following Friday actually. And Saturday mornings, me and Logan, you know, just like now, we're like right on rice, like we are now. You know, we watch cartoons, we watch whatever he wants to watch on TV, on the couch or whatever. And I remember going into the bathroom and coming out, and Logan and David was on the floor doing yoga. Remember that?
That's good. That's good, Dave.
They were like, and they were bonding, and Logan was trying to remember. That's almost making me kind of choked out because it was so beautiful, because it was nothing that I orchestrated. You know what I mean? They found their own little niche, you know, that I had nothing to do with. And David is a vegan, and Logan, you know, had a thing for chicken wings back then. Still kind of do, but he had a thing for chicken wings back then, and especially from Ralph's and from Ralph's. And so his nanny at the time bought him some fried chicken from Ralph's, like fresh fried chicken. He was not sharing with nobody, doesn't usually share with other people. And he shared with David. He said, "Here, why don't you go home and taste this?" As if he knew that he was a vegan, like tested him or whatever. And David ate the piece of chicken. I was like, "Oh, well, he's a keeper."
Chicken was good too. I had chicken like a year and a half before that. You know, I think my experience with Logan was, and by the way, he calls me Sonic, and I'll get to that in a second. Before he used to call me Mr. Dave, but my relationship with Logan, I think, was instantaneous, and I'm not really sure why. I think, well, let me step back for a second. Logan was younger. I'm not sure how old Caleb or Braxton were.
Caleb was older.
Yeah, they were a little bit older. When I met Logan, he was 5 years old. And so he hadn't really formed, you know, that strong personality that an older kid has. So I had an opportunity to, you know, come in and help him sort of get to know him, help him get to know me, and then form a bond. So we've always had a bond. And so Logan's favorite show is Sonic the Hedgehog, you know. And so there's this day we're having a conversation. You know, I get into his movies. I get into his, you know, video games.
You go into his world.
I get into his world. You know, we communicate. Logan and I could be here for an hour and a half. We're play fighting. We're playing games. We're hanging out. You know, he's like, you know, Logan pulled me in. Is the truth. You know, Logan. The first day I met, well, the time we met, you know, at San Diego was actually the second time I'd ever seen Logan. The first time I ever saw Logan, remember, was I walked into the house. I was supposed to be a friend, right? I walk into the house, Here's Logan, Logan is, he don't mess with nobody. He's in his own world. He does his own thing. He doesn't like you. He doesn't like you.
Won't talk to you.
Logan came up to me, grabbed my hand. He said, "Let me show you my toys." Logan doesn't do that. And we're there for like an hour playing with his toys. And that was sort of the introduction. I was supposed to be a friend still. So I think my relationship with him I met him when he was younger. And we just bonded. We have a great relationship.
Why does he call you Sonic?
He calls me Sonic because we were watching the video game one day, and that's his favorite game. And he has Sonic shirt, he has Sonic pillow, he has Sonic sheets.
He runs like Sonic
yes,
too.
He does.
He breathes, he lives, and he used to be Batman when I first
He was,
met him
yeah.
5
He
2
was
years
Batman.
ago. Now he's Sonic. And then I said, "Oh, Sonic is cool," because Sonic has superpowers. And I was like, Sonic is cool. He said, "Yeah, you're cool too." And I was like, "Well, yeah, like Sonic." He was like, "Yeah, Sonic." And since then, I've been Sonic. And he actually took a step down, and he's called Shadow. So he calls me Sonic. I call him Shadow.
There it is.
so that's our story.
That's amazing.
I just wanted to just point out something real fast because I love all my Tamar friends. I'm looking at the comments on YouTube and they're giving donations to Trina's Wi-Fi.
Let me go get my credit card. I'll be right back.
We're going to pray they strengthen the Lord. Watch your feet. We're going to pray they strengthen the
Trina,
Lord.
we need your Venmo. We need your Venmo.
Trina,
address, man.
it's Trina Weed.
Go fund me.
Trina
This is
Weed.
Weed
I need
too,
Trina to
boo.
come back. Trina, come back.
Trina come back. But before Trina don't come back, I would just like to get some questions from our amazing supporters and viewers. So roll that beautiful footage, please.
Hi, my name is Melissa, and I'm from Manassas, Virginia. I am a mother of 5 in a blended family. I have a question for you. At what point in a relationship or a marriage should a step parent be able to discipline the stepchild?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yes.
And the reason why Dave and I had this conversation because we were talking about discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
It is so hard for me to discipline my son because I'm a girl. I don't know how.
Boys will play.
It's so hard for me. Okay? And Logan is not the kind of kid who can handle rah. Like that's not his
sensitive.
Yeah, he's super sensitive. That's not his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so David being a really strong African man, his demeanor is just, come on, the scales. I love to have y'all back. His demeanor is more like
Go on.
it's very stern. It's very stern.
Katrina is like, I don't know about
And it's hard for me not to interfere. So you guys missed the question. The question was raised from one of our guests. When is the right time to start disciplining your kids, your mate? When is the right time?
Or should they
Should they
just be the mom or the dad?
No, I think that it's okay.
Oh, Jesus be Verizon.
Especially when you have decided to move forward permanently. I think that's the only time that it's okay, unless there's some deliberate disrespect. I have to admit, Tamar, I'm raising my hand because as a mother, it's very challenging to allow anyone to discipline our sons. And a lot of times Shauna say things to me like, "You need to take your titty out of his mouth and let."
I say that.
He does.
I say that every
He
24
does.
hours.
Not 24 hours.
48
Are
hours.
you
7.
2 days?
No,
3?
it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. She's not gonna get it right all the time. And my thing is, I feel like God. I feel like God made a husband and wife or a man and female to raise a family. It's a yin and yang. It's a balance. And I don't feel like one person should be doing all of this. One person should be doing all of that. So it wasn't like I was like, telling her not to, or to discipline him. I was giving her a different perspective to look at things because she only sees things from her perspective, just like I do. We all have these blind spots where we can't really see there or there. So my job was to say, hey, when you do this, this communicates this. If you keep doing this, this will have this outcome when he's 19, 20, 21, 22 years old.
Agreed. So I want to jump into Trina real fast since they're so clear. What's happening?
Well, when you have children, period. But for me, because I have sons, I can only speak to, with sons. Because you have a man in your life, that does not necessarily mean that he can just jump in and start disciplining your children. Because you can't, have, a boyfriend and it lasts for 6 months and this man is, talking to your children a certain way, and then that doesn't last. And that's not cool, because you can't have different men coming in, and which I don't have, period, but I'm just saying, as a blanket statement, you can't have just any man come in your life and then start disciplining your children and especially putting hands on them. You can't do that. Now, when you determine that it is a relationship that's going to last, then you can determine whether or not they can talk to your children a certain kind of way. That's just for me personally, because you can't have anybody just coming in and talking to your kids any kind of way and disciplining your kids. What?
I definitely agree.
Well, yeah, that's what I said in the beginning. But yeah, that is what I said. But another part of it is I have a daughter. I'm the only girl who has a girl. So this part of it is a little more challenging because not in a bad way, but I just want to make sure that she understands how important she is and help build her esteem and make sure that she knows that she is loved and, allow her to see what it's supposed to be like when you're in a relationship, that a person is not supposed to abuse you mentally, physically, emotionally, or verbally. So that's very important too. I mean, yeah, we all of us have sons. Yes, we all have a son, but it's also important for those individuals out there that are listening to this who have girls, that it's important and for you to listen to your daughters. You have to listen to your daughters. I'm going to say it again. You got to listen to your sons, but you have to listen to your daughters. Like, seriously.
Because unfortunately, people mess with your sons too.
Period. And Bavon ain't here for the bullshit. He's whooping ass. You can step out of line.
Hey,
no, but I'm not talking about in terms of molestation. I'm not talking about in terms of that. I'm talking about in terms of you got to hear them, because what happens is their throat chakra will close up and they will no longer learn that muscle to express themselves. And quite often, a lot of women don't really know how to express themselves, especially when they're in a relationship, because they feel that they have to be muted. That's what I mean by make sure that you listen to your daughters. That's what I mean by it.
That's a word. Thank you for that word.
Mayer write that song?
Now, Vaughn, what do you got to say?
I have a lot to say. I'm gonna try and speak up. So,
10 minutes.
First off, I don't have that much to say. So first off, if you look at it, don't put a shitty man in your kids' lives. Okay, that's the first thing. I was talking about once you two have decided you're going down the road together, right, and it's immediate. Children are adaptive. They will adapt to any situation much more quickly than adults. But and children don't set policy. So if you're letting kids dictate how your relationship's going to go, your relationship's doomed, because kids change weather. That's the first thing. Here's the biggest part. Most of the time when a man jumps in, when they're boys, I don't know about girls, because I purposely never dated a woman with a daughter because I didn't want any part of that shit. But when a man steps, I did. It's just too much. I don't know how to deal with.
I understand what you're saying.
So most of the time when a man jumps in, and I know this has happened with David, and I know it's happened with Sean. When a man steps in, 9 times out of 10, it's because your son is disrespecting you. And then the man jumps in because he wants the little boy to respect his mom, and then the little boy looks at you. So the very person that you were disrespecting, you little asshole, now you running to for help. Do you understand what I'm saying? And when you verbalize it,
okay. Oh, I love Vaughn. All right.
Go ahead, Vaughn. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead,
One last thing. Let me tell you something about Vaughn's. Vaughn has I've met Vaughn's kids.
Great kids.
When you verbalize it and you
sorry.
When you make it that one.
So we can't really hear you.
Keep them donations coming.
Vaughn, we can't really hear you. we can't really hear you. But I was going to say, to a kid, you know, what you said might sound, you know, people may not understand it. I've met Vaughn's kids, his sons.
Huh?
Okay, we're gonna work on that connection. I want to take another call.
I would have to agree with you, David. Vaughn has amazing sons. They're very respectful.
Amazing. I mean,
extremely respectful.
Yeah,
they play ball. I mean, I've met those guys. I'm like, woo,
yeah,
man. If Logan can grow up to be like this, we've done our job.
Right. Yes. So speaking of kids, and okay, so we've established the fact that we have a great relationship and we have kids, and we've already introduced them. So what happens next? Can we roll the next question, please?
Hi, my name is Jaya, and I'm from Elk Ridge, Maryland. And my question is, when is the right time to have a conversation with your children from your previous relationship about having a new baby with your new spouse?
I don't know that, because I don't know. I mean, is anybody pregnant on here? I mean, you know, I mean.
No, we're not. No, we're not. But Vaughn is crazy because his face is stuck just like I love him so much. I love him so much. It's everything. It's such a meme. It's such a meme. Well, David and I definitely talked about having more kids, right? And I feel like, two. I feel like we're definitely moving in that direction. And I think that the conversation should be, unless you're surprised, the conversation should be why you're planning to have kids, right? Like we've geared Logan up to be excited about a sibling. He talks about me being pregnant all the time. You know, I'm not pregnant now, but he's like, Mom, when are you gonna get pregnant? And when the new baby comes, he just said the other day. Remember, like he's excited for it. So I think that the answer to that question is to get your kids excited for it. Like don't make it a burden, make it something that's exciting for your family.
You start planning. I mean, Logan now he's naming, whether it's a boy, he names his name. He's got a name for the boy. He's got a name for the girl. He's talking about colors, talking about where they're gonna go. So I think, you know, he's really excited, you know.
Well, I will say that it might be a little challenging if the kids are a little older. I don't know. I mean, I can only speculate on how it would be if that ever happened to you.
I mean, we talked about it. I was like, Braxton, what if you had a little brother? He was like, I'm cool with it. So he would rather have a little brother than another sister. So
and Brooke, of course,
so that's what I mean. You get the kids involved.
That's because he doesn't have a brother.
Okay, so
right.
Let's take this one final question, and then we're going to move on to something very special that I have a surprise for my sisters.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Charles, and I'm from Woodbridge, Virginia. I have 5 kids, and I'm in a blended family. My question is, should a child be forced to call a step-parent mom or dad?
No, I don't think they should be forced. And just like in the beginning, you know, I think that you should just create your own relationship. And however that will flourish, it will just flourish in that way. I don't think you should force. Absolutely not. Because they become resentful.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think, you know, I don't know about, it depends. Well, first of all, you can't force a kid to do anything.
Mm-mm.
But the issue of calling a stepdad or stepmom, dad or mom, I'm not quite sure about how that plays out. If the original dad or the original mom is alive, because that's mom, that's dad. So if I'm married and we divorce and my ex-wife, we have a child, and my ex-wife now starts dating and gets married to somebody else, and my son or my daughter starts calling that person dad, how would I feel? So I'm not quite sure. This is just personal to me. I'm not quite sure whether I want Logan to call me dad. Maybe Bono's dad.
He calls you Bonus dad.
Bono's dad. He calls me Sonic, but Bono's dad. Go ahead, Trina.
Yes,
Trina.
Go.
Oh, that's so cute. I'm gonna tell you this though. Okay, so with my sons, their bio dad was not in the picture. However, they did not want the man who raised them to. They didn't want the kids to call him dad. But yet his wife, they wanted the boy to say mama blah blah blah, whatever her name was. Now, the crazy part about it is the men that raised him, they wanted to call him a certain thing, but they couldn't because Bio Dad felt a certain way, even though he wasn't even there. So
God, I love
it depends on the kid. Yeah, you have to let the kids call that person
what they're comfortable with.
is in their life.
That's one.
Whatever they feel comfortable saying. I'm trying to be careful.
That's one decision that is solely dependent on the child.
But now that my kids are older, and Vaughn and I, we actually had an issue with this because Vaughn wanted them to call him by. Can't call him by his.
They're grown men,
right?
And
Ooh,
we should have the freedom to address each other. We're not children anymore.
Okay, so now we have a couple of guests we'd like to introduce now to sort of wrap things up. Sharon Kelly and Candace Tina, founder, and she's the vice president of a company called PowerMax, and it's a nonprofit organization that works towards helping build stronger families with a focus on a blended family. And they're from Northern Virginia. And welcome, Sharon. Welcome, Candace. We've been talking a lot about blended families, and we've had stuff going on this show. We want, by the way, you're sitting this way. That's what we can see.
Yeah.
So would you mind turning your phone
yeah.
or your tablet?
It's the orientation. They just got to go in and unlock it.
Oh, okay. So you're locked. So you may want to turn it the other way. So we can see you clearly. We're looking at you sitting like this.
Yeah, let's talk to
you
like
this.
Yes.
Yes. You're sideways.
Oh, it's fine.
Oh, nope. Now it's nope.
One more time. You turned 180 degrees. We need you to turn 90 degrees.
Right.
There you
go.
Right there. There you go. Right there. There it is.
All right, guys. So what do you guys we've had some, and thank you so much for coming on tonight. We really appreciate you guys for coming on, especially from the DMV area. So what do you guys have? Thank you so much. So what do you guys have to say about all the amazing questions that we've been asked tonight? And what is your input on blended families, and how can we blend them together more successfully and smoothly?
Making the right decision about the right timing to introduce your children to your mate, making sure that you make the right decisions related to setting boundaries, talking about discipline, talking about those things up front, well before I think even the relationship gets serious. I think it's something that should be discussed prior to, so that you know what you're getting into and you know the kind of things to expect. I think one of the things that I know Candace and I talk about when we have our step family conference is that one of the things that I did was I thought that a step family ran just like a traditional family or intact family, a nuclear family. And it can on some levels, but the difference is you have multiple people who are involved. You have yourself, you have the step parent or the bonus parent, and you also have co-parents. And in many cases, you have relatives or other support that is also involved. You're dealing with custody cases. You're dealing with child support. Yes. There's so many different variables. And then you're dealing with children who are trying to adjust to this new dynamic.
Yeah. It's really, really hard because you never know what is the right move. And
exactly.
And the only right move is whatever works for your family.
Right.
Exactly. I think it also has a lot to do with children and their ages, their maturity.
Right.
A lot of the times you want to protect your child's innocence and, keep them free from any hurt, harm, or danger that may come their way verbally. But when it comes directly from the parents, it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. Trina, I feel like you want to. Trina, are you stuck?
No.
Poor Trina.
You want to chime
mean, I definitely agree with all of that. I just think that it's just important to keep lines of communication open. And I think that it's also imperative for children to go through counseling.
Yes.
It's
Agree.
especially, yes, you have to go through counseling. And because like I said before, a lot of times the kids really feel that it's their fault.
Right.
And sometimes they feel that way because it is inflicted because a parent has told them it was their fault or made them feel that it was their fault or started asking them questions so I think it's just really important. And we are very strong advocates about having the kids going into counseling.
I was
go to counseling.
even before I actually really started kicking it with the kids.
Yes.
Even before I was telling her we have to get them in counseling. The thing is, like, especially with Braxton, with a little boy, he has this relationship with his pops, and like he feels allegiance to his pops. And then there's this new guy, he has to figure out his own perspective.
Right.
And sometimes talking to mom or talking to dad is not really going to help him. Right. He needs an outlet where he can talk to somebody that's not in the equation.
Right.
So before I even stepped in, I was like, get them in counseling so you can get them like to a place where they're actually talking about it. Because a lot of times you can tell when a kid is affected by something just by their demeanor and their energy.
Their grades change.
They stop like really listening to you and instruction and stuff like that. Yes. And a lot of times you can discipline the behavior, but you're not looking at the root. The root is they're dealing with all this stuff. They need to talk about it. They don't feel safe from mom and dad. So they have to be in a place where they can let their hearts out and not feel judged for it.
And that's when they feel like they're put in the middle.
Right.
Because they don't want to disappoint their mom and they don't want to disappoint their dad.
Right.
So that's the importance of having an amazing counselor. And I really encourage all those parents out there to work together in finding the proper counselor for your child, because that really matters too.
Yeah.
Because you want a counselor that's going to care about your child's healing and moving forward and growing throughout this journey.
Yep.
Right. And I just want to piggyback on that. I know for my family, we started counseling well before we even entered into marriage. We started counseling when we knew we were going to go down that path. From me and my children having counseling together to then we also had counseling with that time was my fiance. And I remember we got off of our honeymoon. My husband calls it a kid moon because I brought the kids. But we came back on Sunday and we were all in counseling together on Monday. And that's real.
I know.
And I will tell
that's a party foul. That's a party foul right there.
Our biggest thing was we didn't have the right counselor. We had a counselor that was not well versed in blended families. And that's a big thing, is that you may have a great counselor, but if the counselor does not have a clue about blended families, how they operate, you're going to run into a lot of obstacles because they're not going to be able to educate you or give you the tools that you need to be successful.
Right.
So I encourage people, as you're looking for therapists, look for someone who has studied blended families, can give you good tools so that your family can be successful. Because if they have not experienced counseling families who have that dynamic, they're not going to really be a good source for you in order to have a happy, healthy family.
Or if they've gone through.
Candace and Sharon, a quick question for you.
Yes.
Why did you start this company? It seems like a really amazing company, PowerMax. Why did you start it? What was the motivation behind it?
My motivation was for my heart for blended families. I knew that was a passion. Candace and I both have a blended family.
Families, exactly.
And I knew it was a need. It was something that was very present on my heart. It's funny because before I entered into a blended family, when I got a divorce, I never would have thought I would have remarried. I remember I was the one who would say, I don't want another man telling my kids what to do. I don't want to be, I don't want to have another man around my children. And so once I entered into that relationship, and I looked around me and I didn't see the support and I didn't see the things that were available to give people that opportunity to be successful. All I kept hearing was stories of, the bad step parent or the bad stepmom, the bad stepdad, or how awful it was going to be, and having an awful relationship with the co-parent and having baby mama drama or baby daddy drama, which I hate that term, but that was what was going around. And so I wanted to give families hope. I wanted to give them something that they could pull from to help their family be successful, because what people think sometimes is this dysfunction is norm. The norm means it's normal, but no, the norm doesn't mean that it's normal. Just because people are having dysfunctional blended families, they don't have to be. And I think if we educate ourselves and we do what we need to do and we come together, then we can teach each family to be stronger. So when I came up with the idea of Power Max Company, my thought was, let's put something together so that we could help other families to be successful. We have our Step Family Blended Conference every year, just annually. I have a book called The Step Towards Blending, and that book is about helping families before they even enter into a blended situation. So you could be engaged, you could be dating, you could have a child from a previous relationship and are considering it. And the book is meant to give them the resources ahead of time before they enter in, so that they're prepared, because there's a lot of questions that we don't even think about when we're saying, oh yeah, I'm ready to date, and you have a child. It's about preparedness. It's about, support. It's about understanding that your family does not have to be dysfunctional. Our children come from brokenness when their father or their mother is not in their lives, when there's a divorce. And so the best thing that we can do is provide them with the support and the help that they need to be successful. So that was my big reason for starting Power Max Company. We also have a scholarship for children that are in blended families, and that came about for the same reason. My daughter was getting ready to go away to college, and everyone kept telling me, oh, there's so many scholarships out there. Okay. There's scholarship for everything. So I looked for a scholarship for a child that was in a blended family, and I didn't find anything. So I said, well, we'll create one. I mean, our children won't qualify, but at least
Sharon, that's and Candace, thank you so much. That's such a Trina. Did you have something? Thank you so much. That's so inspiring. Did you have something to say?
Yeah, it is. But we.
Oh, girl. Okay.
we can't really hear you. You want to try again?
We're going to try again next week with you, Trina.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Turn it over to you.
Yeah, listen, they have some amazing. Trina, are you back? Trina?
I've been here. I left. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And I think it's true what you're saying about preparedness. However, nothing can prepare your kids for the feeling of rejection. Mm-hmm. And my kids rejected from their biological father because he wasn't, there. And so coming into another relationship, my children were skeptical, with a new man in their lives. And my second husband, he just happened to be there and raise him. He did not have English of his own, and he raised, my sons, and they called him Pop because they're able to call him Dad, because my first husband's family told them that, oh, that's not your dad. You already have a dad, but yet he was not in the picture. And as a matter of fact, my second husband wanted to actually adopt my children, but their bio dad said no, even though he is, even still to this day, over $20,000 in arrears and, child support payments. And I'm telling the truth. I mean, because people.
That's not what I'm saying.
Because people are actually experiencing this right now.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it this far down the road, he's still behind.
He's still, it's really horrible. And it puts children in a position, and as much as their bio dad is a piece of cow plot, I don't say that to my children. I never. And I want to, but I can't, because they form their own opinions. And it's very important that you allow your children to have informed their own opinions.
That part's
based
true.
on experiences. Yeah. Because because no matter how you feel,
right?
Because they'll mad at you,
right,
for talking about their dad or something.
The facts.
But when they will feel like they weren't able to form it for themselves. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then,
but the other part of it, if you give them time, figure it out themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And now they know it for themselves.
You don't have to say a word.
And now that the man that raised them is dead and gone, they can never recoup the relationship with bio dad ever.
Just avoid.
You're right.
So
Yeah,
so
I
what?
just like to say, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was saying that the void of the father son relationship is a very valid thing. I didn't grow up with my father, so like once I got older and I started making money, I was living on my own, and there was this thing like you should have a relationship with him, and I'm like, well, I'm not mad at him, but we're not best friends either. So it's like I don't wish him bad. It's just when you don't invest in that relationship year after year after year after year, everyone loses. You know what I'm saying? So right now, me and my dad are cool. Go ahead, Bond.
Hold on. Everyone loses, but the father loses most.
Right.
Father loses. I'm just gonna say this because I've known you for a long time, but you're a cool ass dude, and
thank you.
He's got to be kicking himself for missing out on helping build you.
Absolutely.
And he should have to live with that shit because you're supposed to be there.
Right. Absolutely. But the cool thing about it is we had a happy ending. So I was angry with him a little bit. I was just like, you weren't there and blah, blah, blah. And I was also hearing my mom's perspective on it, which was not my own. So once I got to a place, I said, hey, you know what? I don't care what happened from this day back. I forgive you. Once I forgave him, we became like that's my dude. Like I call him, the capacity how he knew how to love. You know what I'm saying? I don't doubt him. I mean, I don't down him for not being there, but that was his perspective at the time. So all we have is today, and all we have is the future. So we just decided together, hey, we homeboys, we together, we crack each other up, we have great times together and great conversations. So
you were willing to grow. Your father was willing to grow.
Yeah, he was willing to grow.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Sean. That's inspiring.
Absolutely. I think all parties have to be committed to making your blended family work.
Absolutely.
Yes. And
I love that happy ending. Many guys don't have that relationship with their fathers, and it's something that's missing, and you can see it's missing.
Yeah.
And I commend you, man, for forgiving him. Many men can't do that.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Do you want to wrap this up?
I do, Baba. We don't have all the answers, but people who are a little bit more professional than we are, please visit thepowermaxcompany.org or SharonMKelly.com. For more questions or for more information on how to blend your family successfully. And also, this is Mother's Day weekend. Happy Mother's Day to your mom. And Tawanda and Sean have a new skincare line, King Ladybug's Cosmetics.
No, it's called it's called Ladybug Skincare.
I'm sorry.
Ladybug
skincare.
It's okay. No, people get confused all the time.
I use it now.
It's amazing.
If you go to any of our pages, me, Tawanda, Tracy, Trina, and Tony, you'll get a special discount. Just put your click on and put your special code in, and you will get a percentage off of the cosmetic. And also, what else, David?
Look, it just got announced. Congratulations! Thank you for the amazing fans that we all have. Apparently, we just got the numbers. We raised 6 figures for NASA to install a satellite in the backyard of Trina's and
What my bitches? What my bitches?
We'll see you soon.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click right now. And also,
it's important. If it says gray, that's good. Red is bad. If you're watching, subscribe.
Yes, join Trina on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock. It's Wednesdays, right?
Tuesdays at 4 o'clock. Tuesdays at 4 o'clock. Also, Talkin' Taco Tuesday with Johnny Wright and myself. And on May 25th, don't forget to tune in to
7 p.m. Pacific time.
To what?
Taco Tuesday, baby. Taco Tuesday.
Don't forget to tune in
I'm always behind the scenes.
Catch a Beautician May 25th. And please don't stop streaming. My
Yes,
new
thank you,
single.
Tamar and David.
Woo,
Thank you
crazy
all
kind
for
of
coming out.
love.
We love you so much. We love you crazy. We'll see you guys next week. Bye. Thank you, Tawanda,
Quarantine
Trina,
got your hair
Vaughn,
a
Thank you,
and
mess.
Ladybug Skincare.com.
At least it doesn't look like this.
Girl, you got a hole in your head.
Tamar Braxton, celebrity hair slayer. Are here
We
to
got
bust
some over
bad
here.
dudes.
We're using that stuff.
It
I'll
was
tell you right
it's
now.
so
Man,
good.
this May, it's time to catch up.
We're using that stuff.
Wait.
Confront him
What is that?
I did that to your hair.
and school him.
Now it's time for you to redeem yourself.
To Catch a Beautician, new series premieres Monday, May 25th, only on VH1.